Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Ray Hayes coming to you again with another mini podcast. Once again, this podcast won't be too short, won't be too long. Get in, get out. It's like the fast food podcast, so to say. But today, I'm coming to you, like I said, with the mini podcast, and I wanted to talk about the recent killing and the Philandro Castro case. As many of you may know, the officer who killed Philandro was found now not guilty, and although he was fired from the police department, he was found not guilty in the case of manslaughter. And the reason I'm bringing this up because I wanted to talk about ways possibly to prevent officers from using deadly force when they don't have to, in particular in the Philandro's case, and also officers overusing their power. As far as you have some officers out here, not all of them, but you have some who are just going about doing the job all wrong, and they're not following the code of conduct, nor they're using the training and the skills they learned at the academy. So my thing is, what if when you have families who file civil suits or you have victims of police brutality, so on and so forth, receiving funds, instead of that money coming from taxpayers or state budgets or so on and so forth, what if that money came from the police unions or the police pensions? Would that limit the amount of officers using deadly force when they do not have to, and police misconduct? And in my opinion, I think it would. I heard the fact that bringing up that we should take this money from the police unions or the pensions on a Sirius XM show the other day, and I actually thought it was a great idea. Like I said, I do think it will limit them because now you're affecting your fellow brothers, your brothers and sisters on the force. Now you're taking away money they could be using for other things, and instead that money is now going to pay these families and victims of the people you harassed, killed, or just degraded. And if with that being the case, more officers would begin possibly to speak out and say enough is enough, and they will go about telling their fellow policemen and policewomen that, hey, we have to follow the rules. We can't treat people like animals for no apparent reason. For instance, in Philandro's case, I don't know if I'm not going to speculate whether it was racism or not, but in his case, you had an officer who kind of basically freaked out. He told you he had a gun, and you figured he was reaching for it, and you said you feared for your life. The officer freaked out. Now he's going to have to live with the consequences of him killing that young man for the rest of his life. But now you have to think about the civil case. Most likely the family will receive some funds from the city of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota. They'll most likely receive some funds. So, with that being said, and the reason I say that because when you look at Mike Brown, the young man who was killed there, I believe in 2015, his family recently closed the case with the Ferguson Police Department, and now they're receiving a settlement, undisclosed settlement. So, undisclosed amount of funds. So what I'm saying is, let's not take that money from taxes or anything else. Let's take that money from the pensions. I'm not saying we should, but if we take that money from the pensions, then those officers will be responsible for their duties. Because not only do they have to talk to the general public about why they committed the crime they did or did the offense they did, Now you have to talk to your fellow policemen if you're still on the force. Now you have to deal with them because now not only did you take someone's life, now you affected the money that they expect to receive once they retire, or the money they expected to see for new equipment in the office, so on and so forth. If you do that, then yes, that the limit of killings and misbehavior most likely will go down because you have someone you have to talk to, a person who's equal to you in power, so to say, and a person you most likely respect because that's your fellow coworker. Now, that's not always the case. You respecting coworkers. I mean, you all know that. But I'm just saying the fact that, okay, now you have someone you say, okay, I just screwed up and now I have to go back to work and deal with people looking at me or talking about me in a negative light, or people coming to me and telling me, hey, this is ridiculous and it has to stop. And it sure enough, it does have to stop. Officers need to be trained and utilize that training that they receive. You can't just freak out. You have a gun. You have a gun, a deadly weapon. You can't just freak out. That's unexcusable at the end of the day. So I just wanted to bring the fact of it is that what if we start taking the money from these civil cases, from these officers who have committed a crime or who have been found guilty of misconduct or who have been killed someone for no apparent reason at all, or they just freaked out. Why not take that money from the pensions and the unions? I would love to discuss it with you all if you have a comment about an issue, and also possibly me and Jamie. We'll talk about it on our upcoming podcast, and we'll discuss if this could work and get his opinion if this can work, and we'll debate about it. But once again, I wanted to thank you all for listening to the podcast. I'm going to call it, let's say, the fast food podcast. Just I think it's fitting. It's quicking. You can take the podcast real quick and you go on about today. Listen to it real quick and go on about today. Not too long, not too short. Once again, thank you. And like I said, I definitely think we need to reevaluate things. It's time to wake up. It really is time to wake up. You can follow us on Twitter at GDN Network. You can like our Facebook page, Supplier News. And like I said, please leave a comment. Let's discuss this topic. Let's. I would love to see what you have to say, and let's go from there. But once again, thank you, and have a good evening.